Hey everybody, this is Social Film from High School Top 200, and this next team in the Top 25 national rankings is number 15, Rotorua Boys. Rotorua. I'm a pretty big fan of a Rotorua team, and it's because of, for one, the culture. I like how hard out moldy they are, and it's like the way that the school is run with that same energy of culture, and I just like it. I like that they do it in that fashion, and there's a lot of successful people that come out of Rotorua Boys, and then they have like a different way of thinking about stuff. Because and it's funny too, because like I even when I go there and I see other nationalities like the Indian boys and the Chinese and the Taiwanese and the Sri Lankan kids and even the Samoans, Tongan, Fijians that go there too, they adapt to it and then they understand that this means something to the school, and I think it plays out in their rugby and the passion that they play with their rugby as well. I've always said that Rotorua Boys do the best huckers, and just the feeling of it, you can just kind of tell. I feel like Rotorua Boys is, and I was having a discussion about this with some other guys as well, and I feel like Rotorua Boys have a stacked team, but they can't figure out a solid first five to have there that can take care of everything. They have certain different guys that can do different parts of the role of a first five, but they won't be able to fulfill everything else, if you know what I mean. Like, if you look at it this way, where Poe Sorensen is one of the top props in the country, he's going to be there at the first at prop, and he's going to set the agenda from the front. There's him. Michael Hewitt is the other one, and Bernie Hutty at hooker would be the other kid as well in that front row. And they are pretty set in the way that they do things and the way that things are run, and then you don't worry about it. The same thing with locks, where you got Samisi, Caleb Olsen, and Stuart Leach as well, who's such a good player too. And then you don't worry about the rotation. They're good. They'll do everything from lineouts, working around the field, playing that tight game, backing up on support runners, things like that. And then you've got Tuki Simpkins, of course, who's the number one player in the country for year 12s, and one of my picks for New Zealand secondary schools as well. Malupo Maafu, who's going to be a blindside, who's probably going to be the number 8. Manny Crawford is probably is looking at being the number 7, the open side, and then you look at those guys and you think, cool. So you got Poe, Bernie, Michael, Samisi, Caleb, you got Tuki, Manny, Malupo, Stuart Leach, and you think, fine, that sounds massive, that sounds good, that's reliable, they can get the job done, and that's cool. Then you start looking at the halfback and transferring. They got a transferring player, Manu Paia, and he's coming in, and I think that he's by far their better halfback. And he's big, he's aggressive, he plays the game quick. He's a defender, which is great as well. Like, he's not a liability on defense, and he gets the ball out. And that's cool, and that's what you want. So we'll skip first five, right? And then we'll go to second five. And Cassius Mussy, who's another transferring player to Rotorua Boys this year. There's him at second five, and he's going to be one to watch out for this year as well, this year and next year. Teotu, who's another one who's a young year 13 and could come back again next year. And I pick him to be at centre. Khalil Bedois, who's another one, Aldrich Bedois. Celestino is another one. Ravu Tamai Mara, I think is how you say his last name. And all of that is good. Celestino is probably one of the best fullbacks that we have in the Chiefs region. Whether you have him at fullback or you have him at wing, he's always going to prosper. He's always going to give you a great game, and he's always going to give you great ball, and he can finish off tries and runs and all that kind of stuff. Khalil is the same, where he's a real fast, athletic kid, and he can finish off tries, and he's pretty good on defense too. Cassius is a big, massive runner. He'll set a platform. He's not a greedy kid. He can get offloads out, and so he's not the kind of guy that is just gonna sort of be the black hole and take the player in, and then I'll take the ball in, and then it's finished. It just dies with him. And Tama's the same thing. Where Tama's such a good runner, and he's so skillful, and he gets, he can get it running. He also links up really well with Celestino and Khalil on that. And then we kind of come to the first five position. That's the problem. And then it doesn't weigh up because, and my feelings is that the whole team is taken care of except for that first five position. And I feel like it lets them down a lot more than it really should. If they don't, and I always think, like, if they don't have a first five that can do the job or do everything, then just make him a passing first five. Don't let him do anything else. Just get the ball out of his hands and get it straight to Cassius, who make him the playmaker from second receiver. Make it based around him and Tama in the centers. And so, because what they've done is that they've tried Tama at first five, and it didn't quite work, and Caleb's another one, and it didn't quite work, and Caesar James was another kid, and it didn't quite work. But then they all brought something to that position, but they didn't fulfill it to the extent that you wanted it to. And so they got to kind of, and I feel like they got to come up with a different kind of game plan that's like, okay, well then we can't make that a pivotal role. We have to look for somewhere else. And so, like, whether you do it from a 9-12 situation where it really comes off that way, maybe they have to come up with a different scheme and a different way of doing something, because you don't really have a choice. I personally would just get the ball out of my hands, like get it out of the first five hands straight away, and make it that quick, and make it that simple. Have Manu from halfback control the pods. Don't have it come off first five or anything like that. Have it always come off closer to the rucks and things like that, and just make that first five position just a straight link to Cassius and Tama, or Celestino coming from the back, or even do it that way. Because obviously they're not happy with the way that the first five position is looking with, I think they've tried 3 different players. There may be more than 3 different players. But, they've just got to do something. And it seems to be the bigger letdown in their system right now. I hope that, because I actually think that this team, this Rotorua team, should be a top 5 team in the country. But for some reason, that first 5 just doesn't sit right with me, and obviously it doesn't sit right with the team either, because they've lost to Fielding, Grammar, and St. Peter's, which teams that I kind of feel that they should be better than. because they fill more of the roles, they fill more of the positions than everybody else, but they just haven't been able to put it together. So like whatever you take from this, and like you and go and watch Rotorua as well, and see if what I'm saying actually fits and is actually right. And if you've got your own, if you've come to your own conclusion what it is, please share it with me, because I would want to know. I would want to know how it's going, and I would want to know how you came to that. I guess that conclusion that that's what it is. I still feel like it's the first 5 position. I may be wrong. It might be something else. But if you've got something, please share, because it'll help me out too. I feel like this is like probably one of the best rosters in the country, and should be a top 5 team, but it's just not. And it's going to be really interesting to see how Rotorua come through it this year, because I think that they could actually win the Super 8 and win this Chiefs region, but they got to get that right. They got to get that first 5 right. This is my review. Just let me know what you think. Peace.